So now we're going to attempt to put all of this together to kind of sum up what we've learned. So in the introduction to the class, we started out by talking about what are the components of an information system. An information system is a collection of hardware, software, data, processes, and people. It's absolutely critical that we don't just consider a few of these things, but we consider the entire package, all 5 elements, when thinking about an information system. The whole purpose of an information system really is to support decision making. That's where we get the right information in front of the right person in the right format at the right time to make the right decision. That's the whole purpose. Now, when we start thinking about information, we have to think about where it came from. We start out with the basic concept of data, which is just a simple abstraction of reality, ones and zeros, numbers, bits of data, and we add to that data context, and that gives us information. We add information, add to information, we add experience that gives us knowledge. Knowledge and discernment is what gives us wisdom. So an information system, well, it has the word information in there, is actually created to address all of the layers of this pyramid. The foundation concepts when we start discussing information systems is that most systems that make money support decisions, and decisions are all about putting information in front of the right person. Most systems that save money do so by either cutting people, reducing headcount, or reducing cycle time, or both. Knowledge is both a competitive necessity and a competitive advantage, so we want to capture as much knowledge that is created in our organizations as possible. None of this it requires that we own our own hardware or own our own software or our own processes or even use our own people. That's a very important element in the creation of virtual organizations and a competitive advantage for years to come. Now, when we talk about rolling out information systems projects, one of the things that's absolutely critical is that we understand that change is an important part of information systems design. And when we roll out an information system, we have to understand that we are changing the way the organization works. So Coddart gives us kind of this 8-step model for talking about change. Establish a sense of urgency, create a coalition, develop a vision and a strategy, communicate the change, empower people to implement and to act, create those short-term wins, which we're going to talk about in just a second, consolidate gains and produce more advantages, and finally institutionalize the change into the culture. The items there in the red boxes are those parts that are absolutely critical to IT projects. Guiding coalitions, communicate the change, create short-term wins, and then consolidate the gains and produce more changes. What we do is we take large projects and projects that are hard and divide them up into projects that are small and easy. By taking these large projects, we're able to decrease the risk of failure, and we're able to create these small wins that give the impression of movement and success. Smaller projects are easier to manage and to design. Now, when we take a look at an information system project, we understand that systems should be useful. Ease of use is nice, and sometimes we spend too much time thinking about ease of use, but in order for a system to be used, it has to be useful, and usefulness trumps ease of use. If we take a look at how we roll out systems, we understand that the way innovations are diffused through an organization, that there's a small set of people who are innovators in our organization, and then another small set that are early adopters. It's actually that 16% of most organizations that we target our information systems rollouts. And those are critical folks, and those are the ones that help us win over the early majority and ultimately the late majority. As we start rolling out information systems into our organizations, we find out that there are 4 stages that these rollouts typically go through. The initiation stage, contagion stage, where more people start using it. After we roll the system out and it's in use for a while, we start deciding we need to control it because our costs are getting away from us. And then we finally integrate them into the processes of our organization. So as we learn more about how the system is used, as time goes on, we start managing the systems much differently. Technology introductions into organizations are disruptive. We see here 2 technologies that are released into the organization. One has a flatter trajectory than the other. At time T2, we see a disruption happen, and the old technology is disrupted by the new technology. And we see this time and time again, whether it's a new operating system, a new version of a word processor, or a new accounting system. The disruptive trajectory changes the way we think about our systems. As that technology evolves, we see the disruptions here pointed to by the white arrows. We've got the 4 stages: initiation, contagions, control, and integration. But one of the things that happens with information systems is that they evolve. So stage 4 becomes stage 1, and we evolve the technology as we learn more about how to use it and what it can do for our organizations. This leads us to looking at how we version software and how software is introduced. It grows, it matures, it becomes saturated, and then ultimately declines. And we lay this on top of our diffusion of innovation, the innovators and the early adopters, and we can see that this graph continues as we release further more and more versions of the software. It just keeps moving along. As the technology evolves, so does its management. We see the transition point here on this slide, and it's very clear that at that transition point where we start looking at how to control the information systems expense, this is where we start deciding whether we want to own the software, own the hardware, or do we want to consider outsourcing. So the transition point becomes an important part of the whole management of the IT expense. As we start diffusing the information system through the organization, we know that there are a series of steps that we go through when we take a look at a new technology. We go through an awareness, knowledge, evaluation, trial, adoption, and confirmation stage. What we're showing here with the green arrows is how, as early adopters start using the system and gaining knowledge and evaluating it and trying it, they affect how later adopters use it. So we can see the importance of early users and how they affect subsequent users of technology. As we roll systems out in our organizations, we've learned that where we roll these things out is absolutely critical. So those early adopters affect what others think of our system. So whether the project is a good project or a bad project, if the technology is good or technology is not good, if the technology is friendly or technology is unfriendly, we test drive this stuff in a friendly environment that gives us the best feedback and the bit more control over how early adopters affect subsequent users. We also covered the notion of the fact that different kinds of users or different people involved in an information system project have different views of success and failure. And by focusing on each one individually, we can learn more about how to increase the success of an information system. We found out really that it's all about value. If we focus on value, the cost of the system doesn't really matter. The amount of time it took us to make it doesn't matter as much. It's all about value. And value is associated with use. A system is not valuable if it's not used. So we see just a real driving focus on the use value